You know what? To be honest, I prayed and I really wished to go first, eh? Because if you don't go first, or if you're not one of the first guys that goes up, then to me the nerves starts kicking in. So I think going first was definitely a blessing and definitely an advantage to be able to go first. And yeah, that is what my prayer was as well. So I didn't have too much time to think about all of that and to compare myself with the other guys because of the fact that I was able to go first. So I'm very thankful for that, Raymond.
Happy. Yeah.
So I saw the first lot was a combination lot. It was a boys and a girls smartwatch combination lot. These watches, Raymond, are good for about children between the ages of about 8 to say 15 years. They are called Find Me 4G smartwatches, and they actually have a micro slot for a SIM card. So the watch itself uses a SIM card. It's got live GPS tracking, and also it's video call enabled, and it tells the time. So my first lot was a set of those two watches, one for a boy, one for a girl. I think if I remember correctly, that went for about $1,800 at the end of the day, which is almost the retail price. So I think it's a fair price. And then the second lot was an 8-liter air fryer, Bowden Stark air fryer actually. It's an 8-liter air fryer that's also got a steaming function. So it's got a dual element and a steaming function air fryer. And actually, my lovely wife that was at the event with me to support me was the one that bought the air fryer. So you know, we paid for it twice, you know, but it's awesome. It's for charity. So that's what it's all about. So those two items is what I had to sell. And you know what? God has just been good. I started at I think $100 on the watches. So the cadence could pick up quite nicely up to 1,800 rands. And then also with the air fryer started at $400, and the crowd's response this time around was good. This is the third year that I've entered the competition, and I remember the previous year, last year, I also had two awesome lots that I sold, but I started way too high, so I just got one or two bids in the entire sale. So obviously I couldn't get into any kind of a rhythm or anything like that. So this time, you know, I made sure that I'm going to start low and get some of that crowd response going and the energy flowing and such forth. So it was just an awesome experience altogether. Yeah, so with the chanting, to be honest, I was not fortunate enough to go to auctioneering school. You'll see from the questions that I've answered and sent to you that my first auction was actually I used to always read the rules of auction at one of the employers where I worked before the auction, and at that specific auction he just said to me, "Oh, by the way, you are doing this auction," and he threw me into the deep end, for which I'm so grateful, because from there, you know, that broke the ice, and from there I was able to go forward and do auctions. So from there, I started doing training. I went onto YouTube, Raymond, and I found videos that is done by Americans that teaches you how to start a chant. So in my chant, I do, it's not a secret, I'm happy to share it. I do use filler words like dollar bidder, which the Americans use, also dollar now and dollar down here. But you know, you get to a rhythm to say that in that somebody really has to know auctioneering to know that you're using the word dollar within your chant. But it forms a good basis for your chant if you use that. So I built on top of that, and then there's smaller filler words that you use in between the numbers, like what about, or would you bid, or would you give me, things like that when you go on. So the basis of my chant is very simple. It is a dollar bidder now. So you say like $1 bidder now, $2 bidder now, $3 bidder now, 4, and then from there you add in the other words, and dollar now you round it off with some other numbers, and you get a higher cadence and a lower cadence. You get a bit of a rhythm in there. So definitely the Americans, I think they do it very well. So I went to them on YouTube to learn. Well, I know some people is of the opinion. I think there was one speaker that said something in the lines of that within a few years that live auctions is going to die out. I don't think so. I think people like to work with people. I think people like attending auctions. Yes, there is definitely a place for online auctions. I think the benefit with online auctions is somebody in Cape Town can be bidding on an auction that's happening in Johannesburg. If maybe he couldn't be at the live only auction, he wouldn't have been able to participate. But that's what we have the simulcast auctions for. So I think especially if you look at livestock and things like that, the auctioneer's vibe and the cadence and the sale of the thing, I can't see that dying out ever. I think auctioneering is also one of the oldest professions in the world, and they started selling items by auction from way back when. All the wrong things they started selling by auction, but it's one of the oldest professions. So I can't see that the live auctions going out of the window completely. However, online auctions definitely has a place, but it is not the same. So it's definitely not the same. Simulcast, yes, because you get the benefit of a live auction and an online auction in the same auction. But to say that live auctions is going to disappear totally, I don't think so. Look, it was, I think the first time that I entered, I was under a misconception. I almost want to say a delusion of grandeur in as to my ability to auction or my ability to bid call, to be quite honest, because I thought that auctioneering is a little bit like singing. If you don't have somebody to tell you, hey, you can't sing or you must work on your singing, then you think you can sing. You get these people that you get certain individuals that they end up on idols and they really believe that they can sing. So for me, it was very much like that the first time. I really believed that I could bid call and that I was quite good at it. And then I realized when I watched the video, I realized you have to do some work. You're not that good at this, eh? And then the second time, like I said, I took the effective auctioneering too serious. I wanted to get, I was hoping to get 50,000 Rand for the one item and things like that, being very confident with that. And, it just didn't happen. So I realized that, start out low, get a rhythm in. And it's also by the grace of God, because I had a bit more time to practice my chant in the interim. So yes, I want to, obviously you don't compete in a competition to not win, but for me, this time around, it wasn't all about the win, whereas the previous two times I really wanted to win.
Yeah.
And this time, yes, I did want to win, but I was also okay with not winning because I had a lot of fun and I was being myself on stage. And that's also something that Shane touched on. I think he said the same thing when they asked him, what did he do different? Because it's also a few times that he competed before he won the IAC. And he also said that this time they told him that he'll never win if he has a beard, and he's a guy that has a beard. And when he said that, I was looking at my wife because I was at the barber the day before, and she said, cut off your beard. And I said, I'm not going to cut off my beard. I'm just going to make it a bit neat, and then I'm going to go. So I was feeling a bit confident about that as well. So just being myself and having fun this time, I think, was definitely the difference between the previous two times. The previous two times, I was set on winning, and when I didn't win, I was kind of, the first time I was surprised at how bad I was. And the second time I was very disappointed at not not starting lower and being able to win those times. So this time I'm thankful, and I think it came at the right time as well. All right, so we are based in Krugersdorp, or our warehouse is based in Krugersdorp. We, as you'll see from the questions that I also answered, I worked for an insolvency practitioner in my previous life before auctioneering. That was what I was doing. So I have a lot of in-depth knowledge about insolvencies and how insolvencies actually work and what an auctioneer can do and cannot do. So we specialize in that field, in helping liquidators and trustees to dispose of assets that vest in insolvent estates. And I kind of leveraged that knowledge to get into on the other side, into the auctioneering side of things, you know. So now I'm on the other side of the fence. So
Yeah.
we sell properties for liquidators and trustees nationally. We do auctions also nationally for liquidators and trustees. Or at our warehouse, we do a bi-monthly furniture auction where we sell all furniture that you would find in the major retail stores. So maybe the lounge suite have a scuff mark or a scratch. So now it can't be sold to a customer that is paying 60,000 rand for a full leather lounge suite. Now it comes out to auction and I'm able to sell it to clients for maybe 25,000 rand. And there's small damages on these items, you know. So for me that opens the door to a more average guy to be able to buy a proper lounge suite cash, not having to finance it, and to be able to own that. So there's a sense of purpose in that, providing those items which is maybe otherwise unaffordable to a certain group of the market, to be able to provide that to them. And you know, you do 400 lots in auction, so you get into the rhythm of things, and it's very very good practice.
Yeah.
So and hulle sê in Afrikaans bietjie maak baie. So there is money in furniture. I mean, furniture is a big business. So we do that bi-monthly, but also then whenever we get an insolvent estate, a liquidation and such forth, then we deal with those assets as per the need of that specific insolvent estate. You know,
Yeah.
we're not stocked up on insolvent estate stock. They usually come in and then you organize the auction and then you sell the items and you're done with it. So that is what we focus on, is on the insolvencies, properties, and then we run the bi-monthly auction years where we sell household goods, furniture, lounge suites, beds, and that type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, look, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to work with SIA. I think they've done tremendous work for the industry, which is auctioneering. I understand also that there's quite a big market that has not been reached by SIA, with the likes of the auctioneers that is selling horses and some of the livestock auctioneers that maybe don't really know what SIA is about. I haven't sat with SIA after the competition as yet at all, but it would be brilliant if we can go out, and if I can assist to be an ambassador, like I said I would do, to go out and promote the auctioneering industry, but also to promote SIA as an organization to those individuals. And for me, obviously, there's always a benefit in it for me as well, because I'll be able to network, but I'll also be able to market SIA as an organization and to get some of those other guys also to come and join the South African Institute of Auctioneers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I believe so. I believe so, especially with some of the major banks and such forth. For me, it is an advantage to be able, if I sit in a meeting, for instance, to be able to say, I'd like it if maybe somebody else in the meeting from our company says it, then I have to say it myself. But I think it gives a little bit of a confidence to them, like you said, that they are working with a professional person, because SIA is recognized by all the major banks and all the institutions, and thus so to be able to say that that I won the auctioneering competition, that I'm the champion of 2025, will definitely count points and will give them comfort in dealing with us going forward. Definitely so. So I think there's definitely an advantage to that, and we are very grateful for that. Look, I definitely would love to do that. I have ambition to do that, and it would be awesome if the Lord opens a door for me to be able to do that. I think the competition in America, I get a wildcard entry to the IAC in America, and I think that can be a good maybe starting point and platform. And I'm definitely going to push on Job's button to be able to. He must assist me because I'm a younger auctioneer than he. You know, you need the help of other people. I can't just go on my own and go international. I believe Geoff most probably also had help from someone. So I'm definitely going to ask for that help, and I trust that I would receive it so that I'll be able to do that, you know.
100%.
The secret is that there's no secret. You know, it's very simple. God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, so shall you reap. Stay on your knees in prayer. It's a good place to be because you can't fall very far from there. Yeah.
It's awesome. Bye.
All right.